So it's Friday, and you know what that means?
Is it the day the music died?
No, it's not. It's time for the Pedestrians Gamecast.
Good.
Just a quick recap. We've been doing a bit better on Twitter, which is cool. We would just want to put a thing at the beginning of the show, because that's what people do, to just say, you know, follow us on Twitter at Pedestrians. Check out the website at pedestrians.net. Hit us on Facebook if you want. We're not really working on that though. No. It's not one of our main concerns.
Who goes to gaming sites with Facebook? I mean, who does that?
Yeah, I know. I keep thinking about it, and it's like the Facebook is getting no one, and then I'm like, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People are visiting the site, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, do that. Send us in some bloody requests for things. Mm-hmm. Ask us stuff. More people have been writing in, which is good as well, but we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm. And if you've got like freaky genitals, take a picture of the freaky genitals and send it to us.
Yeah?
Men or women?
Really?
No.
Yeah. I was going to say, don't do that.
No, actually.
But if you see
take that back.
funny things,
yeah,
then take pictures of funny things.
Mm-hmm. But not freaky things.
Well, no, freaky things, but not genitals.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in genitals or, you know, other bits of bodies. Just funny things.
Bits and or bobs.
Yeah. So, how's your week been, Mr. Graeme?
Mr. Graeme, my week has been
anything worth raging about?
Nothing. Like, I got Alien Isolation after 4 months waiting for my Amazon package.
Yeah. Is this the fault of the German post system?
I would love to say it is, but I think it was probably Amazon this time. I pre-ordered the game, so you think pre-order, it will come.
Yeah, like on time. Yeah. You're like, well, when it's released, I'll just get it on that day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pre-ordered it a week by on Sunday, and I got it on Tuesday, I think it was. So we wanted to have it in for this show, so I basically have been doing nothing but Alien Isolation.
Just trying to really squeeze that in.
Yeah.
So that's what you've been doing.
We went to the pub quiz on Wednesday night.
Yeah, we did do the pub quiz. For anyone that's interested in the pub quiz, we came 9th.
We came 9th, but I think we had the moral victory.
Yeah, we did, yeah, certainly. But it was an equal... We came equal 9th with last week's performance, when there were sort of 7 of us, and this week there was only 5.
Yeah.
So 2 people down, equal place. That's sort of, I think, if we'd have had the same amount of people, we'd have been that much higher.
We're building on success.
Could have been like 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think the thing is that general quizzing was the winner.
Quiz was the win.
Yeah.
Knowledge was the winner. Knowledge really came through.
Yeah.
So there was that.
So apart from that, I've been doing nothing. What about you?
Actually, over the weekend, I went to Berlin, which you know, and I had possibly one of the weirdest weekends of my entire life.
Why?
I went to me and Tom and my girlfriend. We stayed at a house of a chap that I know in Berlin, and he knows a guy that runs a pub where his daughter also works. And he said, well, why don't we go there? He's having a party, it's the last party of the year, so it's going to be pretty big. And it was mental. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
So is this pub in like the city centre of Berlin, or is it?
Well, there isn't really a centre. If anyone's been to Berlin, you'll understand that there isn't really a sort of a centre. You've got it's like a lot of little towns all squeezed together. You know what I mean? So you got like lots of little centres, a bit like London as well, you know.
Because Hasselhoff and that goddamn wall.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with Hasselhoff. I think he was the driving force, you know. Yeah. But yeah, so it was in an area called Schöneberg, and it's in the south, and it's like this pub is like a kind of oldie worldy, very woody looking. Kind of
70s build, or
it looks kind if it was in England, I'd probably say it was like Georgian looking or something. Okay. You know what I mean? Really old looking, and all the paint on the walls inside has done that thing where it's all cracked, and then those little individual bits have all shrunk away from each other. Nice. So it's all kind of cracked up and gnarly, and there's all like rockabilly pictures and photographs of like Elvis and old films, but like. Not like new ones that have been reprinted. They're like old as fuck. They're all like, if you touched it, it would like crumble like the end of a cigarette. What I mean?
Would you take the picture away and there would still be like a new colour of...
Yeah, there might be like a perfect wall behind it that you could probably auction. You know what I mean? But, so like we get there and there's a good jazz band on, you know? The guy who was sort of leading the thing was from Philadelphia. And there was, it was a lot of sort of old American, I guess they're expats.
Okay.
Move around. So it was like really, like nice, really great jazz music that went on for a while. And then we sort of got ourselves a seat, you push through and we got ourselves a table there. And then the guy who owns the pub came over and gave us like a beer bottle with a little English flag in the top, just for our table, just for us, And then the jazz finished, and there's this kind of weird feeling, this electric feeling came over the whole place. And I was thinking, like, what's going on? Everyone seemed really pensive, a little bit excited, but kind of more like it was complete anticipation, And I was thinking, what's going on here?
What have I walked into?
Yeah. And I noticed that the guy who owns the place, he was consistently changing his shirt throughout the evening. So every 10 or 15 minutes, there'll be a new outlandish shirt on. And, so he comes out and starts shouting to everyone, we've got a surprise, and it was sort of like some kind of cultish, fever, everyone was baying for the surprise. It was like, everyone was like, yeah, surprise. And then he's standing on his chair behind the bar, with his arms in the air, shouting, the surprise is coming. And every time this would happen, there would be some new lighting sort of setup happen. The lights would go down a bit, and then this red light would come on. And I noticed he's got cop lights from the 70s in America, those sort of spinny round ones that are on the ceiling. A red one came on first, and then the second time he came out, a blue one came on over us, and then with these weird disco lights that started to come on as he comes out with more and more exciting bravado. And it culminated in him just standing on a chair behind the bar, shouting excitedly, whilst everybody else in the pub was screaming, and he started just setting off fireworks in the pub. Not like indoor fireworks, not ones that shoot into the air, but those ones you put on the floor.
Yeah.
And they just fucking have a huge fountain of sparks. Like this. Just right behind the bar, man. And the whole place is tinder dry. You know what I mean? So it's like this, it was the excitement, the normal excitement of fireworks, plus the sort of, the trepidation of thinking the entire place could just catch fire at any second. I was looking around for emergency exits, right? Because I wasn't drinking, so I'm looking around thinking, if this place goes up, I'm out of here, So there were some crowds between us and the door, but they were mostly sort of younger girls, and I was thinking, I could push them out the way. Yeah. Worst case scenario, you may trample some of them.
Yeah.
I wasn't concerned about that. So yeah, I'd got that lined up, but then this went on for a good half an hour. He got a sort of collection of old vinyl to rival the BBC archives that he kept pulling out, random stuff. And he would throw that onto an old vinyl player hooked up to these kind of, that speaker in Back to the Future?
Yeah.
That Marty plays and it blows him backwards. They were like that, these huge speakers pumping out just vinyl, which was great for me. I was like, this is fantastic. And he was just putting on full on hit after hit, all different types of music, but everything was fantastic. There was a point though, there was a down point where me and Tom had to give each other a sort of a weird look, and we probably just went off to the toilet or whatever and just avoided it. He did put on a Gary Glitter song. I don't think he knows. And we did have a word with him afterwards, and the look on his face was one of, you know what I mean?
You've just taken away one of his idols.
Yeah, I felt like I'd spoiled his kind of. I felt like I'd
pissed in his chips.
I think a bit of him died, as happened to all of us, when we found out that Rolf Harris was a stinking paedophile.
Yeah,
a big part of me died as well. So that was a shame. Yeah. But other than that, it was great. And this went on mostly all night then. Fireworks, sort of punctuated by amazing songs, apart from Gary Glitter, who's a paedophile. and that was just how it went until 4 a.m.
It reminds me of that scene in Blue Velvet, the David Lynch film, where Al from Quantum Leap is in it.
Oh,
it just reminds me of that.
Strangely, I watched Sin City 2 last night,
right.
And I noticed Dean Stockwell, the guy who plays Al, was in that as well.
Is it?
Yeah, he plays. It's a very small part. He plays a friend of Marv that just sort of hangs out. He's got this crazy white kind of teddy boy hair, huge sideburns, nice. And he's just there in the background as one of Marv's friends. But yeah,
fantastic.
Weird you should bring that up. So that was my weekend, and then obviously all of my sort of other stuff that I do is over the last couple of weeks is out of the way. So now I'm back on the mod again. So I'm back on the map.
Cool.
Pretty much my week. Pretty much how it went.
You sent Tom home?
Yeah, I sent him packing.
No, that's a shame.
That was sad. Yeah. Fought back tears at the gate.
What can you do when he touches your girlfriend in that way? I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I know. But we've all said we're not going to talk about it again.
Yeah.
And yeah. And he did bite that child as well. So it was either be put down or go back to Ireland.
Back to Dublin.
Yeah, so we sent him back.
Yeah.
But with a muzzle.
Cool.
So, what's it time for?
Games.
Time for games.
I'm going to say it in your accent. Games.
Games. Time for games. And it's time for games, but this time with a jingle.
What have you been playing at, you slags?
Did you like the jingle?
It was a nice jingle, even though I haven't heard it yet. That was a nice
because
jingle.
we got to do it afterwards.
So I've been playing Alien :
Yeah.
Isolation.
Are you calling me a colon?
I'm calling you a colon.
Jesus, there's no name for that.
Alien colonoscopy Isolation.
Yeah. And how did you find it?
It got delivered through the door.
Yeah. Oh,
There we go. It's an oldie, but a goodie. No, it's alright.
okay.
It's
Because I've got high hopes for this, so don't dash my hopes.
It's brilliant and it's shit.
Okay.
In a mixture.
Well, let's break it down then. What's the brilliant side? Oh no, what's the shit side of it? Let's get that out of the way.
I'll start with the premise.
Okay.
Then we'll go into it. So it's 15 years after Alien.
Yeah.
Okay. We start off seeing Ellen Ripley's daughter, Amanda.
Yeah.
She's an engineer. She's working for Wayland Yutani. It's
Yeah.
the same company.
Yeah.
This guy comes in and basically tells her that they found the flight recorder from Nostromo. So
Okay.
where the original Alien happened.
Yeah.
Does she want to go on this expedition to recover it?
Oh, and you get like an option. You can do it.
No, there's not. You just,
Oh.
Do you want to go? Yes, I want to go.
But what if you don't want to go?
The game's over.
Well, that's what I mean. They could have done that.
The game is 20 hours of you fixing machines.
Yeah. That'd be great. So sorry, carry on.
So yeah, you go up with this. The guy that's asked you, and this kind of woman who seems like a lawyer or some kind of. She's not made out for action.
Do you think she's kind of like a parallel to the Burke character out of Aliens?
She could be?
Yeah, like a sort of a company woman somehow.
Yeah, she could be. Actually,
Who's
yeah.
sort of company interests at heart.
Mm-hmm. She's got glasses on, and she's not really up for this kind of escapades.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, so.
Yeah, so they go out of their spacecraft, the three of them in their suits, going across to the ship, which is called. It reminds me of the Turkish name for Sevastopol.
Okay.
It reminds me of Constantinople.
Oh, okay.
Sevastopol.
Oh, I thought it was. I didn't think it was Constantinople.
That was the capital of That was Istanbul before.
Isn't it Istanbul, not Constantinople? Istanbul, not Constantinople. Istanbul, not Constantinople. Isn't there a song about this? Istanbul, not Constantinople. Call it Istanbul, not Constantinople. Is that not a song?
I've never heard that song before in my life.
Okay.
Did you write it?
I didn't write it, no.
Okay. Cool. So, Sevastopol, not Istanbul or Constantinople.
Yeah.
The three of you are going across on a line. An explosion happens, cuts your line.
Yeah.
You make it to the door. The rest of them are gone into deep space.
Like dead.
I assume. I've never heard from them again. So.
Jesus. Did they have families?
I imagine so. Yeah.
Oh, they must have taken it quite hard, because that'd be a hard thing to
The guy
to swallow.
was talking about little Billy Bob, who he had a few months ago. So he never had.
So, like, I mean, really, but you'd get no closure, would you?
No.
You'd be like, I mean, did they would have just presumably suffocated after their oxygen ran out?
And then, yeah.
Presumably frozen as well.
It's a bad way to die.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So
you make it in, you get into the ship, everything's not as it should be. There's darkness, there's like...
Oh, there's some flashing lights.
Flashing lights.
Yeah.
Noises, lots of noises.
Okay.
You get to a stage where they're like... It feels like there's something running above you, so the dust fall down.
Oh, you kind of see the dust. What's the feeling of it, though? Does it like... When you first see the ship, like, what's the kind of... Do you get a feeling of character of the ship? Is it like... You know, like in Alien, there's that real... The ship is like really a character as well. It's like... part of the whole thing? You know, does it give you that? Does it feel that? Do the surroundings feel important? Is what I'm trying to say.
It looks basically like a massive floating city.
Yeah.
So it does look as if it's got some kind of character. It looks really foreboding as well.
Yeah.
So from the very beginning, you know something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So you're walking in, the flashing lights, etc., the noises. It's really, really intimidating. Really, they've done a fantastic homage to Alien.
Yeah.
I showed you that clip from the start of last night with the 20th Century Fox and everything. They've really gone for the atmosphere, they've gone for the design, everything looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's got a real... I mean, I saw that, and a lot of people have talked about the kind of green screen computers.
Yeah, the dots.
You know what I mean?
Things,
it's still that sort of late 70s vision of the future.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah. So it's kind of desolate. There's like that kind of trope, you've seen it in many games, I imagine, when they've got writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Where it's like, don't come in here, and...
Oh, like, you know, we're all doomed.
Yeah, things like that. So that's all over the place. So that kind of adds to the atmosphere. But once you start getting into the game, so first of all, you're looking at... You don't know there's an alien for obviously the first while of the game. You don't know anything about it. But you do realise that the humans on board are hostile to you.
Okay.
They're shooting at you without, like, they're saying...
Oh, for no reason. So there's sort of... so there are... Because that's one thing I was going to ask is, are there survivors? Because then you were saying about the environment, you get a kind of sense of lived-inness.
Yeah.
You know, so you already know there's people around and something's gone wrong, some kind of civil unrest maybe, and then you're meeting these people as well.
Yeah, you're meeting these people. Yeah, you can hear the conversations, like, some of our stuff's missing... What's going on? Don't trust anyone. Just shoot anyone as soon as you see them. So that kind of adds to that. And so I've never been a stealth fan. So this is really the first time. Now that we're doing this podcast, I'm getting thrown into games that I would never have played.
Yeah.
Otherwise. So I'm not really used to stealth. I'm kind of more of a guns blazing kind of guy.
Yeah, you want to run in there and mow everyone down.
Yeah.
But I presumably don't have that option.
This game just focuses on your weakness completely. You've got nothing.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. You get to stage... I was making so many schoolboy errors. I got a flare. So it was really annoying me, the fact that I was holding this flare in my hand when I was walking about.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get rid of the flare, like put it in my bag or put it in my pocket or something.
Yeah.
Ended up lighting the flare. So I'm scared of an alien coming, scared of guys, and I'm walking about with a fucking flare in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck? How do I get rid of
What
this?
do I do?
So I threw the flare, and then I needed a flare later on. I was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fucking this up.
So it's sort of like, you really have to... like anything that you encounter, you can interact with and take.
Yeah.
It's like every item you come across, you're like, fuck, like, am I going to need that?
Yeah. It's a very kind of survivalist thing as well, because you find blueprints, and you can make things like med kits. You can make things like smoke bombs, distraction tools.
Okay.
All these types of things, yeah. You eventually get a gun, but you've got like five.
Again, yeah, very limited.
Yeah.
So you're really thinking about like every shot. You're like,
Yeah.
do I want to take this?
Exactly, yeah. And then obviously, if you make a shot, then that's just attraction from every angle.
Yeah, noise from everyone.
Yeah.
Survivors, potentially the alien.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you meet this. This isn't a spoiler. It's in the first like hour of the game. You meet a Scottish guy,
Yeah.
and he's just like on board by himself. He's trying to get out as
What's
well.
he called? Like Jock McFuck or
Jock McTaggart.
yeah.
So
Jock McCheapskate.
So he tells you, he's the first one to tell you there's something on board.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a murderer, and
A murderer.
there's been a murder.
There's been a murder.
So he says there's been a murder, and he tells you it's a beast. So
Okay.
you get to a stage where there's like 4 people in the room, and you need to get to turn the generator off to create a distraction so you can get by them.
Okay.
And like that kind of thing, I'm just like, oh, fuck, what do I do? And I ended up, this game has 0 direction.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you anything.
Oh yeah, because there's none of this sort of like arrow pointing here,
Nothing
or
at all.
you're just left to fucking.
So I must have died like 5 times before I ended up having to go to YouTube, and I was like, how did I get by this stage? And it just showed me that's the direction I need to go in, because I was constantly going in the wrong direction to get to the generator.
So you really have to go and explore.
Yeah,
the entire world.
You die countless times.
Yeah.
Countless times. So got to the generator, turned it off, and got through. Eventually got to this bit where we were just about to get off and go to the ship that I was on, and that's the first encounter with the alien. Just spike through that guy's back.
Oh, nice.
You just see his like stomach hanging out as a alien spike comes through, kills him, and then the alien fucks off. It's really like a shit myself. It was
like a jump scare moment.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Because you just see him talking and then bang through his stomach.
Presumably you get like a nice stab of music as well, some incidental like...
Yeah, the music, the AV is fantastic in the game, fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So afterwards, it's such early tension, like the atmosphere, you've got this... So that's your first meeting with the alien. After that, like I was in this room and I had to collect something. And then it must have been scripted, I assume it must have been scripted. Just from the vent, the tail comes down.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I was hiding under this chair and you can just see the alien moving and then it leaves the room. I assume that you were never supposed to get caught at that time. I think that's like the first kind of... but then there's a guy up ahead of me. I'm walking towards him, I get my throat out and I'm thinking I'm going to hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then just as I get to him, in between me and him, the alien drops down from a vent above and kills him. Shit myself.
So you're like, fuck!
Like, you're literally on edge the whole time. I'm just like, ah! So we ran away from that point. It's good though, because like, apparently like 99% of the incidents are unscripted.
Yeah.
So it's like, my game's going to be different from someone else's game.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. But another thing is, when you're... Like, let's say you run away from an incident, can you like creep away? Is there a thing like, do you make more noise if you run or anything like that?
Yeah, you just R3 on the PlayStation and you start creeping.
Okay, so
if you run, it comes up warning. This will alert everyone.
Okay, because they can hear you just fucking pegging it down the corridor. Yeah.
So it comes with that early tension. They have these things, androids on it, who are like Crichton, basically from Red Dwarf.
What? They're not like the. Oh shit! What are the ones in the first film?
They might be. I can't remember what they look like.
Yeah, well, they just look like
red
people.
Eyes.
Oh right, then they're not the same ones then.
No, these look more like Crichton. They've got
they're sort of like very primitive looking.
And they're terrifying. Like, after two days of playing Alien Isolation, last night I had such weird dreams, nightmares and stuff. These coloured eyes in my dreams, it was fucking weird. But yeah, like, they're hostile to you as well, and the way they attack you is really kind of, they grab you around the throat and they start like crushing your throat and they start beating you and stuff like that. So it's really kind of...
Brutal.
It's a really brutal way to die when you get caught by them. So.
Are all of them like that?
No, that's what it says. Some people, you can approach some people and it's like, you're not supposed to go to restricted access areas. Yeah. And they're machines, so if you go to the restricted access areas, they need to stop you.
Ah, okay. So those early models always were a bit twitchy.
Yeah. So like, you can jump into lockers. So you've got the locker closed and you can see out the little vents.
A bit like that sort of Amnesia-esque.
Yeah.
Like hiding away. That's quite a nice
so
little...
You see them coming into the room and then sometimes they'll come up to the locker to look and then they'll walk away and it's really...
And you're just like, no!
And like, you can hold your breath, so you have to do this thing to hold your... But if you've got no energy, you can't hold your breath.
Or if you've just been running or something, it's like, you can't...
So that happens with the alien as well, but sometimes the alien will just come up, open the door and rip you out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what I've been wondering about this is, like, because the aliens don't have eyes, I was like thinking, well, like, I was trying to figure out in my head, because they never really explain how they navigate, you know, like, you assume they must have some other sense.
Yeah.
Which isn't light-based, you know? So I was sort of thinking, like, would you be able to hide from it as you would from another... Do you know what I mean? Because I sort of feel like their senses might be super fucking... You know what I mean? They've got like the hearing of Ray Charles and the fucking... You know what I mean? All this crazy sensory bullshit, like bat senses and fucking...
Yeah, like radar kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was kind of... Like, that's the only question I really had from the... Once I'd heard the concept of the game, originally I was like... I sort of thought... I always assumed in my head, as long as I've known about aliens... that would be like the worst thing in the world to try and hide from, because they're not seeing the same way we do, so we've got no reference point to know how to hide from them.
And they seem really intelligent as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I sort of feel like they would be such a fucking horrible thing to try and get away from.
Yeah.
Because they would surely they must have I don't even know if they've got ears, but they must have such a great sense of what's going on around them.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that. I was like, well, are they going to get around that? Are they going to explain that? Or...
There's some really kind of terrifying moments when you get caught by the alien. It's like grabs you and then the mouth opens and the other mouth comes out.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of like images from the film. So it's really cool.
Really ties in nicely.
Yeah. Save points will frustrate a lot of people and a lot of people will love them.
Yeah.
There's no checkpoints.
Okay.
You need to get to a system. You need to plug in your card and you need to wait for 3 lights to go off and then it saves. While you're
Okay.
doing that, you can get fucked from all angles.
Yeah, but I think that's one of those kind of mechanics to stop people doing that whole like saving every
Constantly,
fucking 2
yeah.
seconds, like when I'm playing Fallout 3.
It does make it really frustrating though if you've gone through like a 20-minute section where you've really kind of outfoxed everyone else, and you've done really well, and then you get. It happened to me. I did like 20 minutes, got up to the save point, saving. Alien came from nowhere,
Yeah.
through my chest, and it was just.
Then you're like, fuck you.
So this is when. So far, you would think I love this game, but this is where Alien goes from like this kind of tension, then becomes frustration.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the game lasts as well for 20 plus hours.
Okay, so it's
Far
quite
too much.
You think that's too much?
It's getting to the stage where like the action's filled with basically you walking, opening doors, trying to do these mini games to get things open. Seems to have a lot of filler in it.
Yeah.
And for me, the Alien game is kind of like a one-trick pony at times. And it gets to the stage where it's overusing the alien. So the alien will come into the room and it's stalking you constantly. This is a ship that must have a few hundred people in it, but seems to have a hard on for you.
Yeah, you specifically.
Yeah,
it's like
and
it's
it's
always
just-
coming for you.
And it's just like, you know when you're in like a bad relationship and you come home and you're just like looking at your girlfriend or boyfriend and you're like, why are you always here? It's just,
Yeah,
it feels
it's a bit like
It's
that. You're like, nah.
get up in the morning, you're still here. It's like, and so when it comes like sporadically, that makes amazing tension.
Yeah.
When it's always there, there's no tension.
Yeah, because you know it's there, so you're
Yeah.
like you're constantly looking for it. Like
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like if I'm walking along and I start to feel comfortable, and then the alien comes back, you're going to spike.
Yeah.
If the alien's constantly there, you're just going to be a constant level of.
So you feel like they could have maybe like balanced it a little better somehow.
Yeah.
Like took it away a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like because for me a big thing is I hate it when you're playing a game and you instantly see the pattern emerge of bad guys. And you sort of know that this guy does this huge loop,
Yeah.
so you can go and kind of hide safely. And it takes something away from it when you see a pattern. Because if you've got something that could just be there, or it couldn't be there at all, you find yourself being constantly stealthy, like you're always expecting to be shocked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just at the point where, because there's no real pattern, just when you're starting to get used to that and you think, he's not going to be there, fuck me, and he's right there, you know?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
You never get to that plateau of comfort that enables a spike of tension to fuck you over.
Yeah.
So by not getting there, then it takes away most of the tension.
Yeah, so you think they try to take away safe places, but it's kind of just made that a normality.
I think what I think's happened is that whoever's designing it, whoever's publishing it, Sega and 20th Century Fox,
Yeah.
someone's been told along the line, you need to make this game long,
Yeah.
and they've done it at the sake of quality.
Okay.
It's like an American TV show. It should go for 3 seasons. It goes for 17 seasons. You know?
Yeah, yeah. So they same with anime as well.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of filler.
Yeah.
So you think that's like these are the bad points that we're talking now?
Yeah, like this is what I think most people that are playing the game will say that it's a great game. If you speak to them after 5 hours, they'll say this is a great game. If you speak to them after 15 hours, they'll be like, no.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting
Faded.
bored of it now.
Yeah. So, especially for me, when I knew that I was kind of doing it for deadline, I was kind of getting into the stage where I was like, I'm going to have to play this again. I'm going to have to play another few hours of this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of like the kind of thing that I have with it is like diluting juice. It's really good diluting juice, but they've just added a lot of water to it. You know, it's like So and a little kind of criticisms that kind of janky at times. Like the voice acting is really weird. You know, we always make fun of not make fun, but reference in Dark Place, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kind of no.
Yeah.
And it's like that with the voice. The voices are going at different levels from what you'd imagine the conversation to be.
Yeah, it's almost like they've kind of they've got like an actor to phone in a performance and then try to clip it together.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, and sometimes I don't know how they get around this, but like when I'm following the Scottish guy, I've got in and I'm sitting next to him, and he's looking back to where I was, saying, "Come here, be quiet." And I'm sitting next to him. I'm right beside you, mate.
Yeah, because it's scripted and they expect that
Yeah.
you'll be hanging back.
Yeah. So things like that, and sometimes when you look at that guy who's sitting beside you, he starts flickering.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, so it seems as if they've got a few faults in there.
There's just a couple of graphical
Yeah,
bugs.
and like the lines between the door lines and stuff are blinking. Sometimes, it just seems as if they've not got enough quality in there.
Like, it's they're just lacking that tiny bit of polish.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, definitely. But It's the best. It's the best Alien game in years. I'm sure a lot of fans, like Tom, I'm sure he would
Love it.
Yeah, he would have a chubby the whole way through, I'd imagine. But as a game, probably not great.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't hold up for you against other titles.
No, I mean, especially when I just come off of Shadow of Mordor. It's
Yeah, the thing is, that's a really action-packed game.
Yeah.
With lots of fighting and stuff, so it's a completely different type of, feeling
It's
altogether.
a different type of game, but if I just take my enjoyability, then not really on the same level. If Alien had finished after 10, 12 hours, I think it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But I've not got to the last stage yet, but I just read that it basically turns into an action game. Like, you've got waves of enemies coming at you, and you've got a flamethrower, and you've got the saves changed, so you don't need to go to these systems. It's kind of a checkpoint thing. So it seems as if they've not stayed true to what their vision was, and they've kind of abandoned it, like with a quarter of the game to go.
Oh, okay. So towards the end, you're tooled up.
Yeah, and it's just like
Maybe they're trying to follow the pace of Aliens.
to Alien.
Yeah,
to
because
Aliens,
like in Aliens, you get like pretty much Ripley is she doesn't really have any weapons most of the way through the film. Of course, you got that huge sort of battle scene halfway through.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like towards the end of Aliens, they really up the peril, and it's just her looking for Newt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she's fucking tooled up. She's like jury rigging, like the pulse rifle and the flamethrower together. Like, she's just on it, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they were trying to like
a homage to that.
give you that feeling of like suddenly after all this 3/4 of the game, you're like creeping around. And then suddenly it's like, now you're tooled up and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they were going for that, but like, didn't quite pull it off.
What's annoyed me is that there's been two parts where I've expected credits to roll.
Ah, okay.
And it's not happened. So
Yeah.
I thought, credits for roll, game continues, just surviving some more. Happens again, credits for roll, no, you're surviving some more, and it kind of, it's like flogging a dead horse.
Yeah, you're like,
Towards the end.
oh, still gotta go even more.
Yeah. And if it was like 10 hours, it could have had it could have really good replayability.
Oh, but because it's that extra, like...
It's just like, I'm not going to play 20... Who's going to... Now that we're doing the podcast, I've not got time to play another 20-hour game in between the games that we're playing every week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not going to
Then
happen.
that's something for us, though, because let's imagine if you're, like a gamer with a fuckload of time on your hands, and you're really into Aliens, or the Alien franchise in general, then you might be like, fuck yeah, now I get to play that all, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you could do a replay with different decisions.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I must have played the Fallout games through fucking countless. I've wasted hundreds of hours on that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, for me, there's that kind of, I love that feeling of when a game is so long that the next time you play it through, you're almost like, oh shit, what did I do at this point? I can't remember what decision I made, you know?
Yeah.
I sometimes get that, but
I think with this game, though, there just wouldn't be enough interesting hooks.
yeah.
I just don't think there'd be enough things to keep you kind of... I think, to me, it seems like 3/4 walking, opening doors, 1/4 dealing with cool stuff.
Yeah.
So...
That's a shame, but also, encouraging that perhaps if you are a big fan of the franchise, that you'd still be really into it as well.
I wonder what they'll do next. I wonder if they'll take on, like, Aliens and do a kind of game with that.
I don't think you could, because they did like the Colonial Marines thing,
Yeah.
which was pretty much that. But I think they could make an interesting game from the idea of the Colonial Marines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't need to have it attached to Aliens. It doesn't need to be part of the Aliens sort of versus humans thing. You can have a sort of Colonial Marines game completely separate, because like everyone loves the weapons, the sound of the pulse, the smart guns.
Yeah.
They sound fucking amazing, and they are a cool little crew. Like I reckon it'd be nice to have games, maybe imagine like a game where you're controlling the squad that is then in Aliens,
Yeah.
So you got like Wazowski and Hicks and Drake and like what's her name? Vasquez, Apo, and like all those guys.
Yeah.
Imagine like going through some campaigns with them, leading up to.
Do you mean like a kind of an XCOM thing where you're like sending the soldiers
Well,
forward?
yeah, it could be like a turn-based thing, or it could be, like a sort of Call of Duty looking like first-person shooter, even. Like there's so many routes you could go with that. But maybe a strategy game would be cool as well.
Yeah.
But like the XCOM thing is great. But like it'd be a cool storyline to follow those guys through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe you take on a character that just ends up in that group, who doesn't get chosen for that mission for whatever reason. That would be quite nice, because then you could sort of see that group come together.
Yeah.
And there'd be a great opportunity because all those guys, the voice acting, you could get Bill Paxton back in. Or, you know what I mean? That'd be amazing to have that. That'd be fucking. I'd play that game.
It'd be funny if they did like Amanda had a little girl that we didn't know about, and she had to go forward into space in the future and just continued this mother-daughter relationship thing.
I think I'd be sad about that if I found out that Amanda Ripley had a daughter, who in turn went into space and had a daughter before she went, and then, like I'd be like, God, like we should invent time travel and interfere with this. Yeah, we should, or just a different career choice. Maybe consider adoption or fostering or something. You know,
be a post person.
Because the Ripleys are just fucking doomed. It seems.
Yeah.
So that's that one.
What about you? Did you have anything on your radar?
Well, as you know, I was going to be playing The Evil Within, which we also pre-ordered, as you know.
Yeah.
And which just didn't turn up at all. So, because obviously we're not good enough to get like review copies from people.
We're good enough, but we're not known enough.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, we are brilliant actually.
Yeah.
But because we're not known enough, we don't get review copies. So we are buying this stuff out of our pockets, and we don't have the benefits of like, you know, getting review copies sent to us. No, it's not even the buying really, is it? It's more like you can't get this stuff ahead of time. So
the thing that frustrates me is like I looked at the GameSpot review for Alien Isolation, and that was published 2 weeks ago today.
Yeah.
And now, because of the fuck up with getting it posted to us, we're reviewing it 2 weeks after it's already been reviewed online.
Yeah.
Guys are last week. Guys were reviewing Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
And I looked to see. Oh, I didn't realise that was out already. It's not out until like a week later.
Yeah, a week. So for 2 weeks from when they're reviewing it. So
I think it's next Thursday. It's going to come out, and so everyone's getting a step ahead of us because of review copies.
Yeah, but I think everyone starts from here.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, we've been waiting for weeks for this, and we don't know when it's coming. So hopefully, I'll be able to play it for next week's show. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But you know, everyone's reviewed it. But then that's where I think, you know, like, if when I listen to a podcast, I'm going into it because I'm like, I want to listen to what these people think.
Yeah, personality.
So yeah, exactly. You know, so like, hopefully, there's someone out there who thinks we're worth listening to. So I couldn't say that with a straight face. But yeah, like, so when that comes, I'll do a nice in-depth sort of look into it.
Body.
And it, you know, again, it's what I've seen. I like, you know. Yeah. So maybe we'll.
It's the same guy that made Resident Evil 4, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, like the thing is, I don't know that much about horror games because I'm not really a horror gamer. You know, like it's sort of like you with like Isolation. You're not really a sort of survival gamer.
Yeah.
And with me, I've always been more of an RPG type of guy, you know. So going into like The Evil Within, it will be a nice experience for me, you know, playing something different, getting some different perspectives, and maybe some sort of, you know, maybe it'll scare me because films generally don't anymore, which is crap.
I think it's good to have someone going into the game that doesn't really know the genre because they kind of have the fresh eyes as well, like. They're not weighed down with the kind of history of the genre. Yeah,
and also there's that thing where you maybe, you know, you don't know the tropes, so you're not like expecting this, you're not expecting that. Of course, we're all used to horror films, but like it's that sort of thing of that you sort of know that at this point, like a body's going to drop out of the fucking ceiling and scare you, but there's going to be no enemies, and then just as you calm down, this thing's like I don't know how that works anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So all I know is that when things are really quiet, something's about to happen. Okay. That's about as much as I know.
So should I talk about Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing.
Indeed, Animal Crossing.
Is it just Frogger? Have you been playing Frogger the whole?
I was going to say I wish I was playing Frogger, but that's kind of harsh to Animal Crossing.
I would say so.
Frogger's a great game, right enough, but because I've been back at work, I put that in air quotes, back at work.
Yeah.
I've been taking my 3DS with me.
Okay.
To work with my 3DS in hand. So I've been playing quite a lot of Animal Crossing, New Leaf. So do you know anything about this game?
I know nothing about it at all.
It's basically you run a small town.
Yeah.
So you're on a train, and with mistaken identity, people think that you're the new mayor. coming to the town.
Ah, okay.
So you're a cute little character, you get to name the town, you name yourself, etc.
It's like a computer game version of the interview with Guy Goma on the BBC when they thought he was Guy Cooney, and he was there to give his opinion on downloading music.
That's right, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Worth looking at. If you listen to this, just type in Guy Goma BBC interview and check it out. It's the funniest thing in the world. You see this guy in like a second go through the kind of 3 phases of mischief. It's sort of like he has this realization of like the shock of realizing he's not who they think he is. Then a sort of thoughtful look, and then the mischievous right at the end, like and he just gets stuck in. It's brilliant.
It's kind of like that Jim Carrey film as well. You know the one that gets mistaken for
an actor.
Mistaken for a dead soldier, like a soldier coming back from the war.
Oh, that's a bit
Have you
dark.
seen that film?
No, is it serious?
It's serious. Yeah, he's a writer in New York. But he gets blacklisted because of the communist thing.
Oh, it's sort of McCarthy era.
Yeah, and then he has a car accident and he gets brought up on the shore, and they think he's this long lost son because he's lost his memory.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that. Your mistaken identity. So your little guy goes into the town, and you get to do the general layout of the town, which is kind of gamey, because if there's already a town, how do you get to change it? But
yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll live with that.
Yeah. So you get to choose where you want your house to be. So you build your house on this bit of land, and you go to the town hall, and you've got Isabella, who's your little assistant, and there's kind of different tasks.
Is she like the paperclip in Word?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Basically.
She's your paperclip.
So there's different tasks, and you need things called bells. Bells are the currency of the town.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So you need bells to do things. And it's just a case of like you living in this town. You'll interact with the people there. You walk about, you'll have little humorous conversations with them. You'll shake trees. Things will come off the trees. Fruit.
Sounds standard.
Honest to God, it sounds so quaint. You'll go fishing in the river and you'll catch fish. And you can take the fish to the museum.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that, you'll go in the museum and then it becomes part of the aquarium, which you can go and visit and you'll see the fish floating about. It's just really, like, I don't know, it seems that if someone's had some kind of mental breakdown, it seems like the game you would give them to kind of just bring them back to like...
to get them back into the real world.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
But do you not find that with, like, Nintendo games are always a bit kind of like...
cutesy?
Yeah, kind of twee and boring. Do you know what I mean?
This is not... The thing about this is you'll be... So it works with your real life time. So like 8 o'clock here will be 8 o'clock in the game.
Yeah.
So you have to move the times of the shop. So if you're like a late sleeper, you move it so the shop's open from 12 midday to 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. So basically it's literally you designing a town that suits you.
You and no one else. So
well, what's the point of the game though?
It's just there's no point to it. It's just continuing to grow. You're collecting stuff. You're expanding your house. You're getting items and furniture. There's lots of little cool Nintendo references. Like you'll get like one of the green shells from Mario Kart, and you'll have that in your house and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just really kind of a lot of fan service. It's got so many beautiful little tweaks. So like a nightclub will open. And then KK Slider will come, who's this guitarist.
Yeah.
And he'll come and play a gig, and you'll go and watch the gig, and he'll play like songs, but it's like made up language, so you can't hear it, but it's music.
Sort of like in The Sims, they've got that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So things like that will happen, like bars will open. You can write letters to the other people in the town, like calling them cunts, and they write letters back to you. And then some of them will leave the town and come back to the town, things like that. So it's...
Could you just bully someone until they killed themselves?
I don't think Nintendo would go that dark.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But you can get like fruit, and you can dig the fruit into the ground, and then a fruit tree will grow and stuff like that. So it's honestly, it sounds really bad, but so it will say to you like tomorrow night there's going to be a fireworks show at 7 o'clock. You better come. You're the mayor. Come and watch it and stuff like that.
So you have to like tomorrow night at 7. You have to
set your alarm for.
You have to fucking turn. You can. So basically, it's like real life in your 3DS.
Yeah.
That you just it's just a hindrance. You're like well, like for instance, like, what if I said like, oh Graeme, like we got the podcast to do, and you're like, I've got to go to a fireworks show. You're like, where's the fireworks? Oh no, it's on a 3DS. You know what I mean? Like it seems like I get what they're trying to do with computer games, but to me that seems like it's almost like the developers were sitting there going, how can we fuck with people the most? Do you know what I mean? Like
it's brilliant though. Like You'll run back into your house. You'll get 3DS open 7 o'clock. You'll put on the fireworks show, and then you'll be like sitting watching the fireworks. Fireworks will go up. You'll go like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
What?
And then like the next second you'll be like, oh, I should send a letter to that guy over there. You'll just fall back into the world. You know,
straight in.
It's just, one thing that's really cool is like you go to the island. The island's got more rarer bugs and fish and stuff. So you go there and you can take that back and you can sell the bugs to the shop and you'll get bells, and that means you can expand stuff and things like that. And when you're doing that, you need to pay 1,000 bells to go on this ship with Captain is called.
Yeah.
And he sings a song for you as you're going along. This happens every time there's a different song, and the songs are really funny and really cute. And it's just like, every time you want to see the song, you won't want to put it down to go and get a drink or something. You sit for the song, and then you'll go and get a drink.
Couldn't you take the?
You can take it with you.
Yeah, you could.
It's mobile, so you.
But what's weird is when we first talked about this, right? You were like saying like, I mean, whatever. It's not that good. It's not, like whatever. And now you like seem to be quite an advocate of it.
Fucking addicted to it, man.
So what I mean, like, it seems like you were enjoying this more than Alien Isolation to me. That's what I'm trying to say.
One kind of really, really gut-wrenching part was I broke up with a girl.
Hang on. No.
In real life. IRL.
Oh, right.
IRL.
Oh, fucking hell. I was going to say no. No. You're going to be like, we broke up and, it was terrible. I sent her a letter and called her a cunt.
So I broke up with this girl in real life, and she'd been playing it as well. So she had a house in my town. So when we broke up, her house was still in my town. So I went to the mayor's office, and I was like, "Can we pull this down?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it got pulled down. The patch of the house is always there now.
Oh
so
no!
I always get it's like it came up as Lisa. Her name was. It was like, do you want to destroy Lisa's house? I was just like, yes.
Yeah, and it's still there. It's like here is the
tattoo.
Here is the constant reminder
of my failed relationship.
Jesus, that is all. Well, it's kind of good and bad though as well. Like I was just going to ask then, like, is it? You can't. It's not a multiplayer in any way.
It is. You can go to other people's towns. And they
so
can
like,
come and fuck with
could
you.
you put like a house in someone else's town?
I don't see. I've not done the online stuff, but I don't think so.
Because I was going to say, is what you could do is you could go and build a house in her town and then knock it down. You know what I mean?
She didn't have a town. She only had her house in my town.
Oh, that's a fucking liberties. Honestly,
the things you can do is you can go and start digging in someone else's
these
town.
fucking freeloaders, man. Makes me sick.
So every day, like the thing it does to you is it gives you like an everyday reason to play it. You go in, and every day there'll be 5 new fossils in the ground. You need to go and dig those fossils up, and take them to the museum. So every day there's new.
Very specific.
Yeah, every day there's fruit, and every day there's. You shake the trees, and sometimes bee.
Do you ever have to push a pineapple before you shake the tree?
No, you just shake the trees.
Okay.
What the bees? The beehives fall, and then.
What the bees live in? See, like a little bee house.
Living in Germany, I'm not getting any new German, but I'm losing my English.
I've got that as well, actually. My vocabulary shrinks.
Just get to the stage where I'm going to have no language.
Just ugging at the
pointing. Yeah, and you shake the tree and the beehive falls, and then the bees come after you, and you have to get them with a net. So it's everyday task, and it's a very kind of annoying system, but I know why they've done it. They've done it for a reason, to keep you playing. So anytime you request like an extension to your house, they'll say, "Okay, come back tomorrow and it'll be done."
Yeah.
Or come back tomorrow and you can pay for it. And it's just like constantly trying to get you to come back.
So you can't just like go on an upgrade binge. It's like you have to keep waiting and
So if you've got like 1 million bells, you could buy everything, but you'd need to wait till the next day for the first step to be done, and then the next day for the next step.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like space, so you can't just get everything. Yeah, I get that though.
Yeah, but it's.
Is this available just on the 3DS?
I mean, it came out in the Wii back in the day. It's not in the Wii U yet. It's just Nintendo. It's just Nintendo property. So at the moment, it's just 3DS, 2DS as well, obviously. But yeah, it's one of those games like Dota 2, Destiny, Animal Crossing. I love it. I'm enjoying it, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You feel bad.
It's a gaming rabbit hole.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's basically all I've been playing this week.
So, what have we got next? I guess.
I think this is where we get angry, Andy.
I thought, oh yeah, this is where we get angry. But first of all, yeah, it's time for the news.
News.
So, top of our thing right now is Gamergate. We're coming back to it again because I feel, I don't know how you feel, Graeme, but I feel at the moment that it's something important that we should be talking about because it seems to have, I mean, like when we first started talking about it, it was like, it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Now it's almost a revolutionary thing that's happening, you know?
Front page of the New York Times.
Yeah, it's like, it's such a huge deal. And last week on Twitter, you were in a sort of, not quite an argument, but a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to find the guy's name. I think it was Job John at Spurgeonado.
Yeah.
Was sort of. I don't want to knock at this guy. I don't want anyone to think that we're like saying this guy's name. It's just that, you know, he sort of called us out and said, you know, you're not trying to keep either side clean, so you're basically concern trolls, which fucks us because we didn't know what a concern troll was, so we looked it up, and now we get it. We get it basically. If anyone doesn't know, it's somebody that is trying to derail a topic by pretending to be either on one side or the other, and then instead of taking the opposite view, they think that by sort of pretending to be on the side of the other people and raising concerns about what's happening. Do you know what I mean? It's that like, or you can sort of almost intercept, you know, like like a spy, you know. But anyway, because this had been pointed at us, it made us kind of sit and think about it. And I sat and thought about the whole thing. And what I began to realise really quickly was that I'm pretty sure that the Gamergate has, or it means different things to different people. The more I read on it, there's people out there who are talking as though Gamergate is the movement against all of the sort of, you know, the allegations of sort of, you know, sexual favours for good reviews. There's people that think that it's the movement for, you know, the other side completely. You know, it's like everybody seems to think that it's what they want it to be, you know? And I was thinking, well, that's probably part of the problem here, is that there's no sort of hard and fast rule, it seems, as to exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. I also read another thing this morning on GameSpot. It was a sort of it was someone writing from an older gamer's point of view, people with kids, and they were saying, you know, they're trying to explain to their kids now, almost like the conversation about the birds and the bees. Mm-hmm. You know, kids are now going to their parents, and they're having to explain to them what Gamergate means, you know, and then having to deal with the sort of their kids going, yeah, but you know, don't you care about ethics? Don't you care about this? You know, and the parents are trying to say, yeah, well, you know, you need to look into it more, and so it's become a real polarizing issue. Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to say, we need to understand exactly what it means. Do you know? I mean, can you sit there and confidently say, this is what it means to everyone?
I think it's gone through a few different phases. I mean, I think the original point was basically going after, what was her name? What was it? The first person? The woman. Absolute
idiot for not remembering this.
I can't remember her name, but going after her, basically accusing her of being a slut for sleeping her way to favourable reviews.
Yeah.
Then I think there are two different Gamergate people. There are intelligent arseholes and there are stupid arseholes. Mm. And the intelligent arseholes have tried to shift the discourse to being about ethics in gaming.
Yeah.
And the stupid arseholes are still crusading against their identity as a gamer being under attack.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like they're calling themselves gamers as if they're an ethnic minority, as if they're a gamer is a person who is white, middle class, and between a certain age.
Yeah, so it's like the assumption has already been made that this is what a gamer is.
Yeah. And it's almost as if they're trying to, like, in a kind of Tea Party style way, that it's almost as if they're trying to defend their kind of right as we are white, middle class, young people playing games, and don't attack us, don't foist your feminism, don't foist your culturalism, don't foist anything onto us, because this is what we have and we're protecting it, which is complete fucking nonsense.
Yeah. For me, the whole thing comes down to now. Well, the first major problem I have with it is that the main focus is the original point, which shifted to gamers as a whole and the industry being accused of not quite sexism, but chauvinism and that sort of male-dominated type of thing. So this claim has been levelled against gamers, right? And I would include myself in gamers because I game, right? And then what's happened is we've had these extreme reactions from certain. I mean, and it's definitely a small amount of people, levelling death threats, rape threats, publishing people's details where they live, all this sort of stuff. And I think somebody's accused you of something, and then your only way to fight back is to be an even more extreme version of what you've been accused of.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, it doesn't make any sense to me. Someone says, "Oh, you're sexist," or you're sexist and you got no regard for women. And then, it's rape threat, and it's like, well, hang on. What you're doing doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think you're trying to kind of put a rational thinking brain onto people that don't have it.
But what I'm trying to say here is that what it all boils down to now is that I think there's a lack of clarity as to exactly what the Gamergate movement is. Because I am behind it in one respect. I do think that, yes, of course we should be concerned with ethics. We should be concerned with, any kind of quid pro quo between journalists, developers on either side. Because by the same token, you also don't want journalists cozying up to developers so that they can be first in with reviews or, that kind of favour. You don't want it the other way around. Because it always implies that someone's doing someone a favour, which means a favour has to come back, and so on. So yes, I agree we should be concerned with that. But I think it's been made into a women are doing this as opposed to people are doing this.
Yeah.
I think we need to make the distinction and say, yes, I agree, definitely we need to somehow figure out how are we going to police it. Because you can't, for instance, you can't police it. You can't tell people to not have relationships. Developers work with journalists. Journalists work with developers. YouTube, content creators, people like us, podcasters. We all have to have contact with other people. We are going to build up friendships or sort of associations between people. And how do you police that? And I think we were attacked because we didn't offer a solution. We're just saying, this is stupid, that's stupid. And maybe that is our fault that we didn't make ourselves clearer. But I think now is our chance to make ourselves clear and say, this is our position.
The thing about the building relationships thing, that was the first, when I went to uni to do journalism, that was the first thing we were told to do. Get friends, get contacts, make relationships with people.
Yeah.
That is journalism 101, you know what I mean? That's what you do, and it's nothing unique to the gaming industry. That's what I don't get. Why are people going so crazy at this when
it's not a gaming
it's
problem.
It's less so in gaming than it is in different fields in the world. But politics, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really...
And politics is essentially, it's way more important than gaming.
Exactly.
So from that, because I think this is the problem as well. Because you could argue that point, but I think when people look at that from the outside, they go, well, why are you, you're just saying because everyone does it, it's okay for it to happen.
Someone levelled that to me on Twitter, and I don't accept that, because what's annoying me is the fact that First of all, people are making assumptions based on things that are coming into their head. Like this Brianna Wu. She got accused of all these things. She got rape threats, she got death threats, because her game got favourable reviews, probably reviews that were a bit inflated. These people, the Gamergate people, are claiming that the reviews were inflated because she's a woman. I would say that the reviews were inflated because she was dealing with depression.
Yeah.
And when you're reviewing something on depression, I think people are more likely to give it a higher mark because you've attempted something that not many people have done.
Yeah.
It doesn't give... I imagine some people reviewed that without even looking at the person's name that made it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Why are we jumping straight to the fact that she's a woman? Why are we not jumping to the fact that she's dealing with something that no one else is dealing with? And maybe that's why it got a...
Yeah, maybe if the claims were, because the analog I'm going to try and use is, if you want to win an Oscar, then you go make a film about the Holocaust or something like, because it's something that's seen as sacred in some way that, you can't fuck with this topic.
Yeah.
And you could argue that, like when you're dealing with depression, everyone's a bit like, we don't want to fucking go in too hard, And the same when people talk about those topics as well, racism, sexism, religion, there's a certain kind of, there's a certain aura around these subjects where people go into them already cautious. Mm-hmm. And you could definitely level the argument at people, say, you're not doing your job as a journalist because you aren't pulling these things apart like you would another subject.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, then I sort of say, okay, cool, we've identified the problem, how do we solve it?
But that's the thing, they always say, you get the press that you deserve. And for me, it's like, that bit in Extras where Kate Winslet's talking about she wants to do a Holocaust film because that will get her an Oscar? It's like, when you watched, have you seen Monster?
Yeah.
Charlize Theron, she got the Oscar for Best Female Actress. She probably didn't deserve it, but she uglified herself to such an extent that it shocked a lot of people, and she got a favourable mention because of that.
Yeah.
It's human nature, you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with Brianna Wu being a woman. It's to do with the fact she dealt with a subject that not many people deal with.
Yeah.
And what I don't get is that I like GameSpot. I go into GameSpot all the time. But they did a thing, I think it was Blizzard recently, where one of the GameSpot journalists was like hosting a Blizzard night. And there was like Blizzard stuff and GameSpot stuff all over the stage.
Yeah.
That's where they should be fucking going. You know what I mean? If you're against, if you're like ethics in journalism, contact GameSpot. Don't go for the game designer that's the indie game designer who's a woman, attacking her basically where she lives, putting her address up online.
Yeah.
Go after people like, you go into IGN, sometimes you're not sure if is this an advert or is this editorial?
Yeah.
There's so many blood lines between, is this something that like previews, websites that have got a preview, every preview is going to be positive because you've got no idea what the game's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Like the thing to try and get to the bottom of it is to say yes, these are issues that are affecting the gaming community. It's not unique to it. But then I get the people that say, then it happens everywhere, so it's fine to happen again. I get that as well because I think, okay, you are right. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't put up with it just because it's happening everywhere else. But then you need to make sure that you're aiming the fucking gun at the right face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right. I don't think that like independent developers, maybe it's because the sexism thing was aimed at gamers, and there's a sort of people are feeling pretty aggrieved about that, and then they're trying to use that ammunition to fire back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I do understand it. I do understand it, but I think what needs to happen, I think everyone needs to calm the fuck down for a second, look at the actual facts and say, okay, this whole thing started off about a possible ethical breach that didn't happen, it turns out, right? So you go, okay, that was bullshit, gone, dealt with. So that is out of it. If people are coming up with real world, actual incidents, then let's take them one by one and have open discussion, But like, I think that the worst thing to do is to start doing what people are doing now, is to threaten. I mean, like there was the thing with the Brianna, we were supposed to be doing that speech.
No, that was.
Oh, sorry, it was.
Sarkeesian.
Yeah, she was supposed to be doing the speech, and they had to close the whole thing down because someone threatened a massacre.
Yeah.
And you think, I mean,
who the fuck threatens a massacre?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm so 99.999% sure that was someone fucking about, and there wasn't going to be a massacre. But you can't go and just let it happen and say, oh well, we didn't think it was going to happen. You know, you got to take it seriously in this day and age. That's not doing anyone any favors. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not strengthening the case of gamers. Like, what I want people to understand is that I'm not on either side right here. I'm on the side of I want this to have a resolution. You know, I want us to be able to come out to the side of it and say, we dealt with this, both sides together.
As far as I'm concerned, though, like, if I had any kind of if I was doing anything politically like this, and as soon as someone on my side started using my name to threaten to rape, to threaten massacres, I would just step back and say, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
The people, if there are any intelligent people in Gamergate, you need to abandon that right now.
Yeah.
Because it's a busted flush.
Yeah.
What you need to ask yourself is, was it Zoe? It was Zoe something?
Zoe Quinn.
Zoe Quinn.
Yeah. That was a complete Rod Munch moment for me.
Zoe Quinn. So, if it had been on, it should have been on the other foot. A woman had come out, written a blog, accusing a guy of doing this and that. Would the guy have got death threats? Would Brianna Wu, if it had been a guy, Brian Wu, had made a game about depression, get favourable reviews, would he have got death threats? If a guy was speaking about the death of the gamer on the Gamergate website, would gamers have gone after Intel to get the advertising removed? I think the answer to all three of those questions is no. It's because they're women. The people from Gamergate basically need to remove themselves from this, try a different method, go for the bigger players, but go under a different method.
I was going to say, but the thing I'm trying to avoid here is, right, I mean, you know what I'm like. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like full-on confrontation, you know. I'd rather, I mean, imagine the fucking nastiest person on the face of the planet. I'd rather sit down and talk to them about whatever it is that they're doing. Because I sort of think, well, if you go instantly up against someone, they're going to instantly push back, you know? And I sort of think, like, if you are someone who is caught up in this and is like, you know, and feels as though feminism is attacking gaming, right? Like, I understand why people would feel that, because you see what's happening. You see a lot of, there are a lot of feminist websites out there. Some of them, the slightly more conservative ones, are using this to their advantage to sort of play down the more liberal feminists out there, you know. I wish I'd have made a note of this. I watched a video yesterday of a very sort of conservative feminist.
That's from the American Institute or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
But she did one where she was basically saying, you know, stand down feminists. And I kind of thought, well, no. You know, like, don't, you know, like,
the whole premise of her argument is bullshit, though, because she's basically saying only 10% of gamers or hardcore gamers are women. Maybe there's a reason why only 10% of hardcore gamers are women, because masculism has attacked gaming for the last 30 to 40 years. We're talking about feminism attacking it. Masculism has been attacking it from the very beginning.
Well, not attacking it, but that's the foundation it was built on.
It's the foundation it's been built on, and that's what it's been for the last 30 to 40 years.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason why only 10% of the gamers are women.
Yeah.
And maybe she's just... that woman doesn't know anything about gaming. She came into this argument with no gaming background, no gaming journalism background, and she's basically, as far as I'm concerned, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, well, you get the thing is as well, or what the point I'm trying to get here is that on every side of this, there are people who are literally they're wringing it out. You know, they're milking it for everything it's worth.
Yeah.
They're making it more sensational, and I think that in turn is then, you know, it's like a fucking hurricane. You know, it starts off somewhere out in the Atlantic, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up, you know? And it's like, it's under its own steam now. It's like, it's creating its own, uproar, which in turn is creating more uproar and more, and so on. You know, it's a terrible feedback loop. And I'm just thinking, like I said before, everyone needs to step back for a second. You know, stop being, like, I'm fully prepared for someone to say to me, you're wrong and you need to change your point of view on it, right? I wouldn't do it very easily because I'm fucking human and you don't want to be wrong. But the point is, you have to have that humility to be able to sit down, take some breaths and think about what it is that you said or what your opinion is, analyse it and say, is this really right, you know? Look at the evidence that's really there. And then instead of reacting to it in a sort of aggressive, combative way, and this is on all sides, this isn't just the gamer's side, this is everyone. Everybody needs to understand that there has to be a point where you meet in the middle and discuss it, and then we can actually start figuring out if the problems are real. I'm sure there are some unethical deals going on between developers and journalists, right? Then let's find out who's doing that and deal with them as journalists and as developers, not as women, not as men. Like, deal with it as exactly what it is. Like, you're bad guys. You're fucking us because you're giving us favourable reviews from this blah 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 because of so and so, for money, for sex, for whatever. Stop doing that. And we need to find out who the people are and be more self-policing, you know?
But the point that you made the other day is a very important one. I mean, first of all, Gamergate people seem to be assuming that human beings are not human beings. Even if you get rid of corruption, human beings are corrupt people. Corruption will come back in.
Yeah.
But what you said the other day is the most pertinent point. If you don't trust a gaming source, a review source, get an average of 5 or 6 marks, and then read before you buy a game. If you think that one person has been corrupted, read another news source.
Yeah, vote with your feet.
Exactly. Don't. If you think somewhere, don't click on the website. Go somewhere else. Find people you can trust. Work on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't. Who goes to one website and then decides to buy a game on that score? I mean, who does that?
Me. Sometimes.
But like, if you're conscious of ethics, if you're conscious of people maybe getting tapped, kind of money coming involved, do a bit of fucking research.
I mean, the analogue to that is it's someone shouting and screaming about how weighted Fox News' coverage of something is, and then you say, well, why the fuck are you watching it then?
Watch half an hour of Fox, watch half an hour of CNN. You're in the middle.
No, don't watch any Fox. Don't. There's no point. It's not even news. It's not even news. Yeah. But like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, like that, and you know, it does come down to that. Vote with your feet. If you don't like someone's review because you think they're tainted in some way, don't go with them, and write to the people who, either the magazine, the website, or whatever, write straight to their editorial and say, we're not happy. Organise if that's what you want, you know, like, but...
And this is writing with ink on paper. This is not writing with blood.
Yeah.
This is not making threats.
That's what I mean, but yeah, exactly, like, write an email, write a real letter, you know, like, make a post about it somewhere, but we have to step back from this sort of extremism. I mean, it is extremism. It reminds me of someone somewhere, you know, it's that whole thing of, you know, someone draws a picture of some kind of prophet, and suddenly you've got an entire religion saying, we're going to fucking kill you for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, hang on a second. But it's exactly what's happening. People have become so reactionary and fucking, you know, like, Old Testament, you know what I mean? It feels like everyone's turned into some kind of weird young mutant of Jeremy Clarkson, and I think everyone's just got to calm down.
Yeah.
And I think it might all be Adam Baldwin's fault, which I hate because I love Adam Baldwin.
One of the things I did notice was that apparently in the height of the Gamergate hashtag, it was only used by 10,000 different people.
Yeah.
So for me, this is a loud minority. You know what I mean? This is not. To me, this doesn't represent. I don't know, and you don't know, I imagine, anyone who would be arguing on the Gamergate side. I think this is a kind of...
Well, this is the original point I was trying to make, though, is how do we establish what the Gamergate side really is? Because everything I read is a slightly different shade of Gamergate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that, for me, like, I'm confused about it because I don't know what it fucking means anymore.
But as far as I'm concerned, if one aspect of Gamergate was Scottish people are awesome, Celtic, Bob Dylan, Woody Allen, if that was an aspect of Gamergate,
you're in.
I still wouldn't care.
Oh, okay.
Because they've got, no matter what else happens with Gamergate, they threaten to rape and murder women, and they've threatened to massacre a college or university.
So you need to be, basically, people should be seeing that and saying, I cannot be part of this movement. Yeah, I agree. And I think perhaps what's needed is a new face where people can abandon, or for that loud minority to
be policed.
To publicly denounce, and say, okay, these threats have been levelled against people. We don't want anything to do with that. Yeah, they're doing it under our name, but we do not. You know what I mean?
Start an organisation. Come out, have press releases. If you've got an organisation, you've got a press release, something like this happens, automatically, within 10 minutes, denounce that person.
Exactly.
Move yourself away from it.
Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, I'm not prepared to say that I'm embarrassed to call myself a gamer, because people are saying, I don't want to call myself a gamer anymore because people might associate with that's not the thing. As long as you're outspoken enough to be able to say, I do not agree with what's happened, and those people who have done that, they might be gamers, but they're certainly not part of the community that I feel part of. Because every gamer that I know is very level-headed, sometimes opinionated, well, we all are, but I don't know anybody that would do something like that, I
think it must be like a very American English term as well. Like, I've only ever said to someone, do you play computer games? And I've never said to someone that you're a gamer.
I think it's a new
thing.
Yeah.
I never say I'm a gamer, I say I play computer games.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's my position, and possibly yours as well, is I don't want to be part of a movement that threatens to rape or kill people. I don't want any part of it.
I don't want to be part of a club.
And that's why I will not ever endorse the Gamergate, the hashtag Gamergate movement on that basis until the point comes where they publicly denounce at all times these threats and just have a slightly more grown up kind of stood back and looked at it objectively. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But again, I also don't want to alienate people that are on that side, that potentially are just caught up in the momentum of it and the excitement of being part of a little movement. And then, do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's that as well. Yeah. People are excited and they're caught up and they feel like this is something that
I'd like to imagine out of the 10,000 that there's a massive percentage of people who are embarrassed by this nonsense.
Yeah, I hope there are, and maybe that's how it'll be.
Yeah.
But we'll see, and we'll keep tabs on it as well. Yeah. But that's why we're not part of the movement.
I would like to get to a stage where we're not talking about Gamergate anymore. This shouldn't be a thing. This should not be something we're talking about. It's fucking 2014. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be talking about this. But okay, what's next?
Well, that's what we got for news. I guess that was like that's probably the most intellectual thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
If you can call it intellectual.
Yeah. First, the next news story I've got here is Xbox One bundling both Assassin's Creed games. There were 4 that came out on launch, and Unity.
Yeah.
They're bundling that together with the console. It's going to come out the 2nd of November. And the kicker is that it's going to be the same price as just buying an Xbox One by itself.
Okay, so...
don't have the price in real money. I only have it in dollars.
Okay.
$399, which in America is the same as just buying the Xbox by itself.
Okay.
I assume when it comes over here, £320, around about that.
Don't you think it's strange? Just quickly jumping back to the previous segment, we talked about this last week, and I took the position that I thought this was fine, right? That Microsoft potentially have fucked over the PlayStation 4 users by maybe doing a deal with Ubisoft to restrict Assassin's Creed New One to 900p. Yeah. Why isn't Gamergate going after that? You know what I mean?
Because there's no women involved.
Like, that's what I'm saying. To me, like last week I defended it, and after the show I said to you, like, the argument needed balance.
Yeah.
And really, like, I don't really think that it's okay. Mm-hmm. I do understand that it is fine if a company wants to do that. There's no laws against it, but I do think the consumer loses out at the end.
Obviously, we are speculating. We don't even know if that's the case.
But what I'm saying is, it would appear that that's what's happened, in the same way that it would have appeared that someone had done something out of sorts with a journalist or whatever.
Yeah.
But no one's going after Microsoft with such such, zeal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, if Gamergate had any credibility, they would have organised a kind of what's the word? Kind of walkout. What's the word when you don't buy something?
Oh, like a boycott.
A boycott of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
If they had any credibility, they would have done that based on the
speculation,
on
purely suspicion.
Yeah.
Until someone released a statement.
Yeah.
But let's get away from it.
Yeah. So Xbox One with those two games, which is kind of after speaking about that, Xbox One and Assassin's Creed being in bed together.
Yeah.
But again, I was talking earlier about when Xbox One fucked up so heavily. E3, it's just led to the consumer getting really good deals.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, they gave away Titanfall for free.
Yeah.
Because when that came out, they bundled it together for the same price. You can get Sunset Overdrive basically for free. That's coming out at the end of the month, and now they're doing the same with Assassin's Creed. The only one benefiting from Xbox fucking up so much has been the consumer.
You think that's a good thing?
And I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
If it got to a stage where both systems were selling really well, they're not going to try and offer anything to customers because they know they're buying it anyway.
Yeah.
So, same as last generation when the PlayStation screwed up, it's good. Xbox is screwed up and the consumer's getting a good deal out of this.
Yeah.
And again, I'm still tempted to jump in. Xbox One, don't know.
I'm more tempted than I was.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think they're going to come down drastically in price at all. I can't see that happening. But when I'm in a better position financially, I probably will end up getting a PlayStation and an Xbox. Yeah.
Right, next is Bayonetta 2, as we mentioned it earlier, has already been reviewed. The reviews are up all over. They got only the 8th 10 out of 10 in GameSpot's history.
Yeah?
Starting with Ocarina of Time, Soul Calibur, Chrono Cross, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3,
Wow.
GTA 4, MGS 4.
GTA 4 got a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
I would say there's holes in there.
See, I never liked
rating
GTA 4. I never got through it. And the last one after MGS 4 was Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Okay.
So what of those ones have you played? What ones do you like? What ones on you?
GTA 4 I thought was great. I did enjoy it. But the thing is, what we've got to imagine is that all of these scores were at the time of release.
Yeah.
So there's no relativity, if you know what I mean, between the games. Because like one could be way better than the other, but it wasn't at the time, so it changes. So there's that, and also it is purely the opinion of the reviewer at the time. If it appeals to them personally as well.
There's an interesting video up on the GameSpot in the lobby. It's called. It was with Jeff Gershman, Kevin Van Ord, and Daniel Dwyer and Dan Reichert, and they were talking about the review process. I didn't know this, but apparently reviews get passed around every reviewer in the office. Yeah. So like a peer review thing as well.
Ah, so okay. So there's like a protection system.
Yeah. And they were talking about like Chrono Cross was getting reviewed. It got reviewed by a freelancer, and no one on staff had actually played the game. And this freelancer was saying it was a 10 out of 10 game, and they were like, "Can we trust this?" Yeah. So it was really kind of good to see that kind of background to the review. Like process. A sort of quality control almost in there. So there is stuff in place, but still, and obviously I'm not accusing GameSpot of anything right now. But do you think sometimes there's something behind it, because it's very rare that a game will get like full marks. Yeah. Do you think that there's also an element of like saving that 10 out of 10 score for certain things? Like, what do you mean? Well, because if a game gets 10 out of 10, then what you're essentially saying is this is a perfect game, And I sort of feel like to say that about a game is a very big, like, fuck, this is great. Like, you think that it's like basically if they get a game where the highest score they could give a game normally would be like an 8.5 or 9, and they reserve that 10, if they really want to be like, if they really want to push like this game is the pinnacle of what gaming is right now. Yeah. I'm not saying that someone is, like there's some kind of political motives behind it. I'm just saying, like, do you think the 10 out of 10 score is saved when something is just so right and so now and fits so perfectly? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because like that game in 2 years' time wouldn't get that same review. No. It would have to be reviewed at that time, and like in the context of where it was at that time and where games were at that time.
That's what I mean. So I always take that 100% review as basically the reviewers saying, like, this is, like, this game's 9 and this one's 10. The 9 is pretty much the perfect game, but the 10, it's like them going, like, not only is this perfect in terms of being a game, it's been released at the exact right time. You know what I mean? It might be a new concept, so things like that, I always feel like they really save that one little extra mark just to sort of, as a fucking wow factor, get
it done something new.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like I always wonder that.
Apart from like the ones on the list, two that I would add would be things like GTA 3. Spoke about that before. I actually prefer that to 4. That would be a 10 for me. And one that would be a 10 that apparently you can't go back to. Apparently it's awful if you play it again. Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah,
that would be a 10 for me.
I never played any of the Final Fantasy games.
No,
I was never a fan.
We should do Andy playing Final Fantasy from 1 to 4.
All the way through.
Yeah.
Fuck me, I'd probably die.
Before I think 15's coming out soon. Before 15 you should play all of them.
Oh god. I can't, maybe.
So do you have any games that you would add to that as 10 out of 10s?
I'm trying to think now. If I do, then they would probably be quite old. Actually nothing in recent years has grabbed me as...
You're a big fan of Far Cry 3?
I am, but like I can see a lot of problems with it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Far Cry 3 is a great game. It's fun. You know what I mean? It's by no means the perfect game. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But like, there are things in that one I look at, and I think they could have taken the time on this bit or that bit. I said it before. I can't remember what. Maybe it was on a show. Maybe it was on the interview with Shane. I can't remember. But there's a lot of sort of the ground clutter, the grass that sticks up out of the terrain.
Yeah.
At a lot of points, you can see that the grass models are kind of sticking out the side of the hill, or they're not conforming to the floor.
Okay.
So they're sort of raised up a little bit. Things like that, where I think, they could have taken a bit more time just polishing it,
Yeah.
But still great. Mm-hmm. Still a great game. But no, I would have given it sort of a 7.5. I would have thought.
7.5?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, cause, 5 is average. Mm-hmm. Obviously, out of 10.
But nowadays they say that 7 is average.
You see, well, that's counterintuitive and stupid.
Yeah.
Because a 5 is average.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If you give a game, if GameSpot gave a 5 to a game, it would be chaos on the comments section.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like because people expect that. Basically, why not just go to like between 1 and 5 if you're going to do that, and then a 2.5 is average.
Yeah.
It doesn't make, or between 5 and 10. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, let's carry on.
Right. Next story is this weekend on Steam. You have a selection of 10 free games to play over the weekend from Thursday to Monday.
Yes, you do. And also, I don't know if people will catch it. If you listen to this when we've released it straight away, there may still be time to go join the Payday 2 group on Steam. Once you've joined the group, you can then go and download a free copy of the first Payday game. So if it started at, I think it was 10 Pacific time on the 18th. 16th, and it'll run till 10 Pacific time today. So you might be able to catch the last maybe hour or two of that.
Yeah, you should do. Yeah.
So go grab that. But yeah,
that's a good game. Payday.
Payday, yeah, great. The second one's good as well.
Yeah, cool. So the 10 games you can get are Awesome Nuts, Blade Symphony, Company of Heroes 2, Don't Starve, which is supposed to be a real interesting.
Like a nice little survival sort of, yeah.
Great. Grid 2, Injustice: God Among Us, which is that DC Comics fighting game.
I can say Grid 2 is a good game actually as well.
It? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That's a great game.
Killing Floor, Payday 2, Trine 2, and XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Fantastic game, I love that.
Yeah, you like
that?
Yeah,
I really. That was one of my favourite games when I was a kid when it first came out.
Yeah.
I think it was like, I guess it was like 97ish or something, maybe 98.
Cool.
Had the first version of it when it came out, and me and my buddies we were on that all the time.
I miss so much gaming history not having a PC as I was growing up.
I can't. Yeah, it must have been the PC. Yeah, it was about PC time. Yeah.
So that's the end of the news. We've just got time for new releases and then our Andy's mailbag.
Yeah.
So new releases this week, kind of dry. Bayonetta 2 coming out next Thursday, so that should be awesome. Looking forward to getting that. Fantasia Music Evolved, which is a music game from harmonic.
Yeah.
It's Fantasia, you know, like the Disney thing.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like a kind of, you know, like these music games that Harmonix did, like a Guitar Hero and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
That kind of thing with, like, I think it's Queen songs and stuff like that. And it's supposed to be.
If there's Queen songs on it, I'm in.
Previews said they were good, but previews are always going to say things are good. So.
Okay. What else we got?
And then Civilization Beyond Earth, which is the first Civilization game to be set in the future.
Okay.
So it looks quite interesting. Don't have a PC that can run it.
I might do that.
Yeah.
I might do that one, yeah.
Maybe
I've never played a Civilization game, but I always look at them and imagine that, like, I could quite possibly lose a percentage of my life to those games. So.
Yeah. Maybe we'll send them an email and get a pre-release code. Yeah, so Andy's mailbag. Do we have a jingle for that?
Yes, we do. Andy's mailbag.
That was a nice jingle.
It was a nice jingle. So
first email.
Why is it my mailbag? Yeah, you seem to be reading them out.
Because you bring your mailbag in and then I take the stuff out.
I think we should just do Graham's mailbag.
But Andy's mailbag sounds better.
We're doing Graham's mailbag. Graham's mailbag. That's an even better jingle.
Are you sure you don't want to do Andy's mailbag?
Andy's mailbag. No, okay. Graham's mailbag. Graham's mailbag. Go on.
First email from Ben in Canada. What language are you guys even speaking?
Well, not Canadian.
Fuck 'em.
Aye.
A bit.
Yeah. Well, you say that anyway because you're a fucking jock.
Yeah. Canadians and I have got a link.
Yeah, maybe. So what can you understand you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
My students can't understand me either, so.
Well, I don't, to be honest with you. I'm just hoping that my replies are in line with what you've been saying.
Okay, I'll get the second letter right.
Okay.
Lots of letters here. Okay, we've just got time for one more.
Hang on, here it is.
And this is from Stephen in Colchester.
Stephen in Colchester.
Colchester, England.
Colchester, England.
Good to hear you talk about point and click games. What are your top 3 point and click games of all time? Mine are number 3, Zack McCracken and the Alien Mindbender.
Classic, absolute classic. I love that
Never
game as
heard
well.
of it.
I like that game too.
Number 2, Loom from the Amiga. No?
It's okay.
Yeah. And number 1, Discworld.
Again, another great. I think that. I'm trying to remember. I think the developers of that were called Perfect 10.
Okay.
Can't remember who. I feel like it was Psygnosis that were the publishers. I can't remember, but that was I loved that as well. That would probably be mine. Would be, I don't know the order, but I would go. The first Discworld would be in there. Zack McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders. I'd forgotten about that until it came up there. That would probably be in it as well because that was during my formative years.
So you're stealing 2 from this guy?
Yeah, I am. I'm just stealing straight from him. And the third one, point and click. It's really hard. It's going to be between Day of the Tentacle and fuck. I guess it's really hard. That third one's going to.
What about Monkey Island?
Yeah, no, I'd like Monkey Island, but I'm sure there's something else that's really. I'm sure there's something else that's grabbed me much more than that. I think about it for a little. What would you go with?
I have never played a point and click game in my life.
Well, we should get you onto them because we should do it. Maybe we could do a playthrough on
next month. The Walking Dead season 1 and 2 and Wolf Among Us are coming out, so I'm hoping to get into those guys.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
that's my top 3.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know a third.
No.
I don't know. Maybe I will just go with.
We'll tweet it. We'll tweet number 3. And
we'll tweet number 3. Okay. Cool.
So that's the mailbag empty.
Really?
Yeah.
That wasn't a very big mailbag. Look, I can see
more. I don't want to read this.
You don't want to read them?
No.
What's this one say? This one says, Graeme is a cunt. No, I just made it up, yeah. No, cool. So, that was fun. We're sorry we got all serious about the Gamergate thing, but it's worth getting serious about.
Women are serious things. Wow.
That's just spoiled everything now. Women are serious things. Fucking hell. Should we just... Is there anything else?
No.